Hi there, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be showing you how you can replace the door barrel lock in the Caravan. We came down in between Christmas and New Year and I opened the door as normal, put the key in, and when I turned it, it carried on turning and turning. It left the Caravan secure, thankfully, but we were unable to check inside. So today I'm going to show you how we're going to replace the barrel and some tools that you need, which I'll show you in a moment. Firstly, a little apology. If you can hear a beeping in the background, I do apologise, but it's beyond my control, unfortunately. There's a lot of Caravans here where the carbon monoxide and the smoke alarms keep going off because the batteries are due to be replaced. So you'll have to put up with that in the video if it does pick up by the mic. So let's take a look at some of the tools we're going to need for this little DIY project. Okay, so these are tools we're going to need. Now from left to right I shall describe what we've got. We've got various sized crosshead screwdrivers because I'm not sure at this stage which ones I'm going to need. I've also got a pair of needle nose pliers in case I need those, and I've got some hook tools which I believe I'm going to need to remove some trim. And also some flathead screwdrivers as well, just in case we have difficulties with the hook to remove the panel trim. Now if you don't have any of these, you can always use a plastic trim tool as well. Now let's have a look at the lock and I'll explain more of what's gone wrong. So this is a replacement lock and I'm going to use this to explain what I think's gone wrong. As you can see here, we've got two tangs, and in between that sits the blade for the lock mechanism, so that when you put the key in and turn, it turns the blade, which allows the lock to come unlocked. Now I suspect that one of these tangs or both have broken off, hence has not been able to get in and the barrel turning freely. Now also we've got the levers on top of the lock here, which the key needs to be put in order to depress them, but the last one is actually a spring-loaded tang, and that on the existing lock needs to be depressed in order to remove it. So what I'm going to do now is take you over to the Caravan. I'm going to show you how I'm going to get into a locked Caravan, and you might find this entertaining. So as I've explained, the key keeps turning round and round and the Caravan's still locked. Now what I don't want to do is start putting a tool into here and forcing the lock, because I could actually break it, because they are only made of a nylon plastic, and that could cost me some more money. So the second thoughts were, well, what about the windows? Now on the windows in my Caravan, they actually have buttons that you have to depress. So to slip a Slim Jim or something underneath here in order to open them could be a difficult problem. Plus my weight going over this onto the actual Caravan wall, I could break it as well or warp it, which I don't want to do. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to crawl in through this hatch underneath the bed. It's the only way I think I can do it without causing any damage or harm to myself. So that's what I'm going to do. Okay, so I've emptied as much as I possibly can, and I've tried to make myself slimmer by reducing the amount of layers I've got on, and I'm hoping I can get in just round the side of the spur wheel and up into the Caravan. Wish me luck. Woo! Success! Got in. I'm glad I didn't eat too much at Christmas. Right, I'll set up and I'll show you how we're going to remove this. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is remove this piece of trim here and this piece of trim here. So we're just going to try and hook that in now and pull it off. Seems to be coming. I'm going to try not to break them, because otherwise you're into a load more money. It's not the easiest, but there we go. We've got that one off. Put that down there. Let's see if we can get this one off now. There we go. So we got the second one off as well now. Now, as you'll note here, hopefully the camera will pick it up, we've 2 screws to remove from there and with 3 screws to remove from here. So we're going to do that now. Now it's important that you put these back, or put them in an order that you can get at them and you know which one's which. So I'm going to set out a sequence when I lay them out inside the Caravan. I mean, it's easy with this one because you just leave the screws with the actual plastic cap, but we're going to do that now. So pop that on one side. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to remove the screws from this. There's one, whoops, that's fell. Don't drop them like me, folks. So that's that. So that should pop off now nicely. I'm going to pick up the screw that we've dropped again, leave them in the tray so that they're ready for when we actually put it back together. Okay, so now this should come off like so. Now be careful with this because it is greasy, so you don't want to get this on your upholstery. Put it on something that won't cause an harm to. Now inside here there are 4 screws. Now what we're going to do first of all is we're going to try and remove this piece of trim first in order to get at the actual panel behind, which is the mechanism of the door. So I'm just going to take a trim tool now and see if I can get this off without breaking it. The tangs on these can be a little bit fragile, so I'm warning you now, just be mindful when you come to take it off. One tang. This is very stiff. See if we can get it from this side. That's one. Now these tangs are very difficult to open up. There's one there. It's telling me there's one here as well. Yeah, there we go. Well, I managed to break one of them slightly. I'll see if I can put a piece of super glue on that. But I've managed to get the rest off without breaking them, so I'm dead pleased about that. Give that a clean afterwards, it's filthy inside. Right, so we pop that down on one side. Now we have the lock itself. And on this there are 4 screws, so we're going to remove the 4 screws. Now this is a Phillips screwdriver. Now I've noticed that these are not very well screwed on, so you don't want to over tighten them when you actually come to do the reverse in order to fit it. These are quite long screws too. So this should be the lock mechanism coming off now. Almost there. Oh, there we go. So that's off now. Drop the screw. So as you can see, that's the mechanism, what we've got. It's very, I'm pleased to see it's greased very well, so I won't be adding any additional grease to that. So let's pop that as well on one side, along with its screws. Now, what should happen now, this is the tang that I was mentioning, where the actual key barrel goes into. So we need to take the whole of this mechanism off. Now, what I have noticed is this. Now when you take this off, be careful because you've got a foam pad washer which you need to make sure when you put it back that it fits perfect and you don't crush it, otherwise it could cause leaks into the Caravan itself. So this is the important part. This is the part we need to be working with, because we need to get the barrel out, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. Okay, so we've popped inside. I've used the front locker. What I'm going to do, I've just put an old towel down just so I don't damage the top surface. Now, the first thing you'll notice, you've got a clear-ish rubber seal, which we're going to remove. Might help if I get it going. That's it, with my small nose pliers. Now, inside here, what we have next is an actual circlip, and we need to remove that circlip. So I'm going to have a go first of all with my needle nose and see if I can get it off. If I can't get it off with that, I'm going to try my trim tools. See if I can. I'm going to try. Oh, that's it. That come off quite easily. Try not to lose it. So again, I'm putting them down in sequence, these, because I know which one goes where. Now the next. Okay, so we've taken off the actual cover, we've taken the circlip off, and we've taken the washer off. Now inside here you can't see it very well, unfortunately, because it's covered in grease, but there is an actual spring retain clip, and it's just here, if that sort of shows on the camera. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my thing, and there we go. So we've got that off now. Now I don't mind if that mucks up this towel, because I said it's an old one. So now we have removed the rubber cap, the circlip, the actual rubber seal, and the spring washer. So what we need to do now is remove the barrel, and it's very easy because it just pushes out like so. So we can put this now on one side. Now our concentration is going to be here at this point. Now if you can see on this one here, I'll just point to it, I mentioned this spring clip, so we need to depress that now in order to get the existing barrel out of the sleeving. So I'm going to just have a go at doing that now. If I can't do it on camera, I'll try and do it off camera, and I'll let you know. But what you do need to do first of all is put your existing key in and depress it like so. This is not the easiest of jobs, I will admit. So I'm going to do this bit off camera and then I'll explain it, because I'm just going to bore you while I'm faffing around with it. So I'll come back when I've got it off. Okay, so I've now managed to remove the old barrel. Now it was difficult for me because, as you can see here, the two tangs that I mentioned before have both completely snapped off, and they were jammed inside, which made it a little bit difficult. But you have to depress this spring down here with the key still in, and once you've done that, it will allow the barrel to come out, and it slides out of this sleeving via that slot. So you put your actual tool into here and depress the spring, and slowly you have to wriggle it without removing the key in order to get the actual lock out. It is a pain in the backside, I won't deny it, but once it's done, and it's quite simple. So as you can see now, I've replaced all the parts that we had before, and the lock is now secure and inside the actual lock. I'm really happy with that. So I'm going to now go outside and we're going to do the reverse. Okay, so we're actually, believe it or not, now a week on. You might notice because I'm not wearing the same clothes, and it's quite simple. What happened was, when I was fitting the lock, I noticed that the retaining tang, the springs had come out of it and it was broken, so I couldn't use it, which wasn't really an issue, apart from it set me back over a week, what with the weather and everything. Now Grantham Caravans, where I bought it from, were really good. I sent them a picture of the broken new one, and they sent a replacement within a day, which was great. It's just that it took me over a week to get back here because of the weather. So what we're going to do now is, I've fitted the lock in, I'm happy with it, I've tested it with the key, and I'm really pleased with it. Hardest thing I will say about doing it is putting that retaining spring in. Make sure you get it the right way, and also have a bit of patience, because it is a fiddle. So we're going to do in reverse order really what we did when we took everything off. So first of all, we're going to put this in. So we slide that in from this side, like so. Then the next part is this, which is the lock mechanism itself. So we're going to marry up with that, and I'm going to put the 4 screws back in it to retain it. So I'll just get on with that and I'll come back to you and I'll show you where we go from there. So I've just snapped into place the plastic cowling. Be careful with this because the little tangs are really fine. You could break them off, so make sure you've aligned it first before you do it. Now what we're going to do is we're going to put the handle in. Now what you've got to do is you've got to put it in on an angle so that it catches this spring here. I hope you can see it on the camera. So you have to go in on a slight angle with it, like so, and then check that it actually functions. So it's caught on that spring, as you can see there. Now we're going to just put the plastic silver cowling back on. Okay, so I've got it back on now and I'm happy that it works. I'm going to install the plastic cowl. Now if you notice there's 3 screws there and they represent these here. So we put it on, making sure that the lock symbols are towards the actual handle itself, and we're going to fit the screws in. Not too bad. Don't need to be too tight, these. What's that? Final one. Like so. Now what we're going to do now, with 3 tangs on this, they're going to line up with these tangs here, and we're going to push it on. There we go. And it's functioning fine. Now be careful with these, they're extra long screws these, they really need to make sure you get them in. So everything's all buttoned back up nice and bonny, and we've got everything done now. Really pleased with that. Proof in the pudding now is testing it, so let's see if we can get it to lock. That's it, it's locked and it's undone. Perfect job. Well folks, that's how I replaced the Caravan door lock. It's a good 4 hours job, and you need a bit of patience as well, because the retaining spring that you have to put in when you're rebuilding the lock mechanism, it is a pain to try and get on, but once you've got that on, everything else will fall into place. When you're fitting the cover cowling back, just be mindful them tangs are very small, very fragile, and they break easily, and that part is quite expensive to replace, so just bear that one in mind. Now the lock on this is unique to this particular style of lock mechanism, as in the door opening. There are others. If you've got an older Caravan, or you've got the ones with just the circular handle to turn, then you need to check out my mate Colin at Colin's Caravan Capers, because he's recently replaced the lock on that. I'll leave a link in the description below to Colin's channel, and if you like what you see and you think he's helpful for you, why not subscribe and give him some support. I'd also like to thank Grantham Caravans for also being very quick to respond to the defective lock that I'd purchased, and by replacing it literally the day after. I was really impressed with that. So thank you very much for watching. I do hope you'll join us again real soon, but in the meantime, bye for now.